presently presented for investing in the app. For those of you that don't know, we are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. You can go to startengine.com/fanbase to look at the raise. If you don't, if you're not familiar about it, you can actually see all the things about the raise, all the stuff that's available. Give you a good insight and information about what's going on. And so this Regulation A crowdfund we're doing is kind of like the progression of what we've been doing throughout the journey of Fanbase, which is equity crowdfunding. Equity crowdfunding has given us the opportunity to raise now about $12 million, $10 million from the first 3 rounds that we've done, and about almost like $2 million now from this brand new round that we launched a few months ago. And that's really exciting. The minimum to invest in Fanbase is $399. That gets you 60 shares of Fanbase stock at $6.65 a share, at a valuation of $160 million. The valuation of Fanbase has continued to increase since we launched our first round, the tail end of 2020 going into 2021, when we closed that round. Fanbase has gone from a $20 million valuation to a $50 million valuation to an $85 million valuation. And now we are at a $160 million valuation. So I want to give ourselves a round of applause for being able to do that. And thank you all for being investors who are in here, who are new and have been along for the ride the entire time. We couldn't have done it without you. Fanbase exists because of the investment community that we have. I'm excited about that because equity crowdfunding provides 2 opportunities. It allows us to raise capital, but it also allows us to give the opportunity for the users of this platform to actually have equity in the platform. And I'm really big on that. I think it's a community thing. I think it's something different, hasn't really been done in social media before. Haven't really heard a lot of people, talk about owning part of a platform. And Fanbase is a relatively new and small platform, but I think as time goes on and people see Fanbase has grown, and in the future will be a part of a really big platform that people had a chance to invest in early. So I think about this as like, when you see companies like NVIDIA that have been around for like 20 years, and now they're, reaping huge rewards on being the companies that they are. That's my vision for Fanbase. How we got here now, everybody wants to know, like, why are you raising this money? Well, it's a couple things. And actually, I'm going to add something new today, which I haven't really added for one reason new, why we're raising this capital. So we're raising this capital because we face limitations on being able to raise capital through the Reg CF space on Start Engine, because we were capped at $5 million a year. And we were pretty consistent about being able to raise that money within a calendar year, right? So we were pretty consistent about being able to do that. But it also limited us from being able to grow the platform and scale. We feel like we've gone through the startup phase. We know the app. We're very excited about the app, but we wanted to add more functionality, more employees, bigger team, a lot of different things. And so we were limited by that. So going up to a Regulation A crowdfund allows us to raise up to $75 million in a calendar year. So we settled on the sweet spot of $17 million, which is basically a 3-year plan to scale Fanbase and grow the user base exponentially over that time. So we're excited to be able to do that. And even happy to continue to scale and grow that. So that's one reason. Now, this is going to be a little different today because I'm going to talk a little bit about X, because I've been getting a lot of conversation about X and Elon Musk and Twitter. And I do want to say this, that I was a big fan of Twitter before, Elon Musk became part of the platform. I was a really big fan of the platform. I think Twitter is the only immortal social media platform, in my opinion, given its, its construct. But recently, there's been a lot going on by way of censorship and racial commenting and all kinds of stuff. And so a lot of people have asked, would we build Twitter-like functionality into Fanbase? Now, I'm going to ask that if you would like to see Twitter-like functionality in Fanbase, throw a 1 in the chat if you want to see that. That'll kind of let us know what's going on if you want to see Twitter-like functionality on Fanbase. Now, the way that we do that, here's the thing. How we do that, though, is we got to raise money to do that. We're able to do it. We actually need to raise money faster. And so I set myself a goal of about $6 million. And if we can get to about $6 million raised, we should be able to do that. And actually build it by the end of the year. I know it's just like July, August, September, October, November, December. So it's like 5 months left in the year. It will probably take us about 3 to 4 months to build the platform, but we're about to go on a tear and really, energize raising capital. So that's another reason why, because I think that some of the stuff that's been going on X, I don't think that what's been happening, and I think a lot of people, especially Black Twitter, the people that have helped blow up Twitter, the culture, the creators have really helped scale the platform, and that's a new functionality that we want. But that's something that's some stuff that's we want to do, we haven't done yet, but it's definitely things that people want. Let me tell you about this. Where we are currently at in the raise, we are currently at $1,856,470 raised. I wish I could clap it up and I had my stuff plugged in and make all the noise and the sound effects, but that's pretty remarkable. I'm really excited about that. I think that's incredible. That's a lot of, capital we've been able to raise. We thank everybody that has invested. That's come from 1,797 investors. So welcome all those new investors to Fanbase who have invested. We really appreciate you guys becoming part of the platform and owning equity in it. Now, why is equity in Fanbase important? Why is this something that you think that people should have and people be able to do? One of the main reasons, because we're realizing the network effect of communities on social media. And the network effect of communities on social media actually give these platforms their value. A large user base allows these companies to monetize, make tons of money off advertising, and a lot of that definitely doesn't go to the users. It kind of winds up going to top tier creators. But what we believe at Fanbase is that the specific definition of a creator has changed a lot over the last few years. The last several years, creators have gone from being people that make this really elaborate content, that spend a lot of time and energy creating content, to now people that just contribute to the conversation. So if anybody's in this audio room right now, chatting, having a conversation, that is content, right? Everybody that's in the chat right now, if you're speaking in the chat, and the ability for people to be able to actually monetize and have, make money from that. And so I think that's important. So I wanted to provide the opportunity for users, right, to absolutely have equity in this. You guys together will lift up this platform as users and owners who become advocates of the success of what we're doing. And you're kind of being able to see what we're doing in real time. And I think that's good. I think that that's something that, I don't know, a lot of people do or don't know, but I think I'm excited that a lot of you guys have been able to see what we've been able to do. Fanbase has come a long way, and there's a lot more to go. In fact, we are actually having a new update tomorrow. I know that we haven't talked about that, but tomorrow there will be a brand new functionality that allows users to have exclusive audio rooms. So exclusive audio rooms will be available tomorrow. So that means exclusive live. Exclusive live. So now you can live stream behind a paywall. So that's another form of monetization. And a lot of people have wanted subscriber live, I know a lot of fitness professionals wanted to be able to do that because sometimes they do like live training courses, stuff like that, they can have people subscribe and be able to make money. So we're excited to be able to do that. So that's coming. I don't know if oh yeah, I did. We did talk about this. Ramiro and I have spoken about this. A couple things that are also coming down the pipeline is actually a big update in audio. And a new update in audio is that these audio rooms, all the audio rooms that are available right now, will be available for the general public, anybody with a link to fanbase.app/audio to be able to listen. The hallway is about to go public to the entire planet. And I think, but I think it's it's going to be incredible. I think the ability for people to tap in and listen to these conversations, especially what's going on in the political sphere, right? I think that's important. So yeah, we're going to be excited about that. So audio rooms in the hallway on public web are coming in about a month. I think by the end of August, I think that's where you will see this going on. I'm looking in the chat. If there are any questions, Kyle and Sil are here, but I want to see if anybody has any questions. You can throw those questions in the chat. While we do that, I want to talk about some of the things that we're going to be doing with the capital, and I think that's really important. Let's see here. Let me go to my sheet of information that I must have in front of me so I speak correctly. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Let's see here. Let me find where are we at. I'm looking right now. Hold on, guys. Okay. So I'm going to name a couple things that we're going to be using the capital for. And I think that's important. It's going to help us continue to scale the app, continue to grow the app, continue to do a lot of amazing things with the app. So the first thing that we're going to do with this is it's going to help us gather insights to drive decisions. So integrating advanced analytics platforms, constructing North Star journeys, focusing on deepening our demographic and psychographic analysis and enhancing our insights and infrastructure will provide us with a more informed business strategy. So the things that the data tells us are the directions that we need to go. Now, we've been doing this for a while, but having better information will allow us the opportunity to build the things that collectively the user base wants. What we did notice is that sometimes, actions by the users will increase the likelihood that we will pivot or build something sooner than later. So the refactor of the feed took a long time, but now that that's done, like carousels is something that's going to be part of Fanbase, and I think that that's going to be a big thing. I'm really excited about that. I know the photography. Are there any photography lovers or any people that still really like photography? I'm curious about that. Are people still interested in photos? Let me know in the chat. Are you still interested in photos at all? Because I'm interested in photos from time to time, but video has become such a big part of social media. I didn't know if people were still interested in photos that much, but every now and then, a good photo is good. So being able to add multiple pieces of media, now when carousels come along, that doesn't mean that it's just going to be photos. It is going to be other forms of media. So you will be able to put like 10 videos in a row, or 10 photos in a row, or a photo and a video, or mix them up, or, like that. Food pics. I see people talking about food photography is really a real thing, though. But also, it's going to allow us to add other things and other functionality that I don't think people are really ready for. But we are, and it's going to make us a better company and a more engaging platform. So that's one of the first things that we're going to do. The next thing that I'm going to talk about here, the next thing that we're going to use this for is, let me see, is actually, let me think about this. I'm going to think about pioneering beyond basic innovation. I want to mention this. So pioneering beyond basic innovation, that means there's a lot of things that we want to build with Fanbase, and we have a lot of great ideas. Gold verified badges is something that we kind of came up with. The actual subscription capability to subscribe through in-app purchase capability is something we came up with. The migration tool from Instagram and TikTok is something that we came up with. And so we want to go beyond basic innovation and get to some other really cool things that we want to build. And some of those things are coming, even like branded web on audio. Branded web on audio is something that I don't think people know. Like right now, this room is available online for anybody to listen to. That has a link to fanbase.app/audio/invest-now. And so branded audio is something that I'm really excited about, and I want to make sure that we continue to scale and build on, because it kind of opens up the door for conversations to really be global. It allows people to be a fly on the wall of some really interesting conversations and some things that normally most people don't get a chance to take a look at and see. So I'm excited about that. Really excited about that. So pioneering beyond basic innovation is something that I think is really cool. The next thing we're going to do is I'm looking at other things. Let's see here. I want to make sure I want to dive into some things that we never kind of talk about, because we always kind of mention the same things. So attracting exceptional talent. I think as we continue to scale, there are people that we want to continue to hire the amazing people. We have an amazing team at Fanbase already, but we want to continue to hire an even more amazing team of exceptional talent. So building an innovative, disruptive team, advancing our workspace, improving benefits, support our growth with top-notch talent. I want people to love working at Fanbase. We're about to move in a little while. I don't know if people know that. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Fanbase is moving. We have a new headquarters that we're moving to. Coming soon, but we had to do that, and it was time to really scale up and go to the next level. Protecting our intellectual property. This is something too. Fanbase has 12 patents pending. Like I mentioned before, we filed patents for content migration, audio on web, subscription, in-app purchase subscription capability. There's a few other things that we filed patents on, and so we want to be able to protect that, because that becomes part of our tech stack. Part of the things that become part of what we do add to the value of the company. So it's about the tech stack, it's about the user base, it's about the functionality. All those things are assets that continue to drive the value of Fanbase up, and so I think that's really good as well. Strengthening partnership capabilities. This is a new one. So we want to establish a partnership framework. And what we consider a partner at Fanbase is like a business, so like a brand or a company, but also, really engage in special creators that bring a lot of energy and vitality and virality to the platform. And so we're always looking to do that. We've partnered with MAC Cosmetics. We've done partnership with Propel. That's the nonprofit organization that serves all the HBCUs in the United States of America, that's funded by Apple and the Southern Company. We're glad to be partnered with them. Shout out to our partners, Earn Your Leisure with InvestFest coming up at the end of August. They're part of our partnership group, and some other partnerships that we haven't really mentioned, but we keep them close, and as they become available, we will continue to talk about those partnerships and make them known to all of you guys. I'm going in the chat. Let's see. I'm looking. I'm scrolling. I see some questions. We did partner with Clark Atlanta. We absolutely did. We partnered with Clark Atlanta for sure. So I'm excited about that. Let me see. I'm scrolling the chat. I don't see very many questions. Oh, so as a Tier 5 invested. How and when does one receive those items listed? Good question. So, when you invest in Fanbase, and this is something typically Ramiro does, but I'll do it today because I'm the only one here. And that's cool. So you also get rewards in investing in Fanbase. So on top of the equity you get, when you invest at certain tiers, you get rewards, you get perks, right? And those perks range from a wide variety of things, from access to new functionality, stuff like that. So I'll read them off. So if you invest $600 or more in this round, you will receive early access to new features on Fanbase. So when we're testing new products or launching things in beta, you guys will be the first ones to have access to those things, and let that you'll have access to those things before anybody else. That's at $600. Tier 2, $1,000. You receive the following. You will receive early access to the features on the platform, 10,000 loves to use on Fanbase, wherever you want to use them. So if you want to tip people, however you want to use those loves, you'll be able to do that. And you'll receive a blue verified profile badge. So early investors do get verified in two ways, and that $1,000 Tier 2 investment does that. Tier 3, that's $2,500 or more. You get everything that was in Tier 2. So you get the early access to the functionality. You also get a blue verified profile badge. You get 15,000 loves, and you get a Fanbase t-shirt. Boom. That's cool. And everybody likes the Fanbase t-shirts. Not the t-shirts that I wear, because I just like to make those shirts up on my own and then just wear them, and everybody asks where they're at. The only other person that really has the t-shirts that I have is Kyle, because I don't know how Kyle gets my shirts, but Kyle winds up with some of my shirts. It's all good. Tier 4, investors will receive, boom, following early access to features, 20,000 loves, a Fanbase t-shirt, a gold verified investor profile badge, and 5% bonus shares. So on top of the shares that you will get an extra 5% bonus shares. That's really cool, because now you're getting some extra shares on the cap table for that. And finally, Tier 5, which is this investor asked about Tier 5. So investors who invest at Tier 5 will receive early access to the Fanbase features, 30,000 loves, a Fanbase t-shirt, a gold verified profile badge, and you will get invited to a private dinner for the Tier 5 $10,000 investors with the founder and the amazing team at Fanbase. Plus, you will get 10% bonus shares. And so when we close this round, we'll be doing that dinner. I think I found the perfect location to be able to do that. I think it'll be really special. I'll be excited to have people do that. So those are the tiers. Now, we often get questions about stacking perks, right? So what we have decided to do is all of the perks that are available to us that we have to honor, which are the profile badge, the loves, the early access, the dinner, those types of things, t-shirts, yes. Those are things that we're in charge of, right? Now, what we can't control is the bonus shares. We're not in control of those. So, but we have decided that if you invest and have invested in previous rounds, so let's say you invested, I don't know, $500 in the last round, and you invest $399 in this round, and it puts you, close to Tier 1 or Tier 2. We will honor those perks as a collective combination. And so we will honor those. So that's if you're close to getting a verified badge or close to getting more loves or bonus shares or stuff like that by the way you invested, because people have invested in Fanbase a few times. They've invested, in multiple times. So we will stack those perks. We will do that when we close the round and honor those perks, because we really don't have access to the investors until the round closes. So we really know the cap table is settled. We know who's involved and who's part of the cap table, and then we'll do that. Now I want to describe the process of investing in Fanbase, because we get those questions a lot. Like, okay, so what is the process investing in Fanbase? What happens to the money? X, Y, Z, right? So What happens when you invest in Fanbase is a few things. First, you go to startengine.com/Fanbase. You're going to make a profile on the Start Engine page. There's some questions that they have to ask that they want to know to help build your profile. Now, to be clear, Start Engine is the custodian of your shares. Basically, they are the place that houses your shares. So if you ever want to find out about your equity in Fanbase by way of your shares, always log into the Start Engine page and go look at your portfolio on Start Engine, and you will see exactly what you have available by way of shares. You'll see that, right? So when you invest, and like I said, the minimum to invest is $399. When you invest in Fanbase, your money goes into escrow. So that basically means it's like it goes into a kind of this intermediary place where we don't have the money and you don't have the money. During that process, Start Engine does what they call a money laundering background check. We've had people try to fraudulently invest in Fanbase and all other kinds of startups on Start Engine. People just try to fraudulently invest. And so for that reason, they have to do a money laundering background check on that to make sure things are cool. That can take from a few days to about a week. Once that happens, you will receive an email that says, hey, do you want to confirm your investment in Fanbase? And what I really like about that is it gives the investor the opportunity to truly decide and not make a hasty decision and just be invested in your money is included in Fanbase. So once you receive that email, you will confirm your investment, and then from there, your money goes into what we call a disbursement queue. So that money is set inside in a pool of money, and whenever times we decide that we want to pull from the money that we've raised so far and put that into Fanbase, when that money hits our bank account, at that point, you are invested in Fanbase. So when you think about the process, you invest, you get your shares, it goes into escrow, money laundering background check, you'll get an email to confirm. Once you confirm, it'll hit a disbursement queue for us. Once your funds are in our bank account, then you are invested in Fanbase. Now, a lot of times people, because we see this a lot of times, there's a lot of drop-off sometimes where people are not confirming their investment, and they think that they're invested. They think that once you just enter that, the amount that you're investing and then leave, like it's done. No, it's not. Because again, they want to give the user a significant amount of time to be able to make the decision. Plus, they have to do that money laundering background check. So that's why they want to do are you sure? The are you sure language. Like, you sure you want to invest in Fanbase? Because, here we are. We want to make sure that you invest, and that happens. So once that happens, you will be invested in Fanbase. And that's extremely important because, again, I like that. It gives transparency, it gives comfortability. It allows people to feel really good about investing in Fanbase. Let's see. Questions. Do I see Fanbase considering adding the referral bonus and additional share option again? So Memoirs Joy Moore, I'm not sure what you mean. There are bonus shares. Like I said, the additional share option and referral bonus, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I know that you get bonus shares by investing either $5,000 or $10,000. And so that'll happen. So I've invested over $5K on your previous round. I'm going to read this question. Jupy36, shouldn't I have a verified badge? If it was in the previous round, yes. So Jupy, what you need to do is reach out to support at fanbase.app. Give them, the email that you use to invest. Give the email that you use to invest and your username. And if we miss that, because a lot of times when we close the round, we send out emails to tell people, hey, you get your profile badge, you want your shirt, you want your loves, all that stuff. We reach out to users all the time. And so sometimes those emails might get lost in spam and you might not see them. So all you have to do is just contact support at fanbase.app and they will let you know if you've done that. So I think that's absolutely cool. Now, this is an unusual journey for us. And it's a challenge. And I want to explain why things are the way that they are. Like, why this is going to be a really hard, challenging, but inspiring, inspirational opportunity for people to be able to invest. and join part of this platform. Typically, what happens is that venture capital comes into these platforms, and they have early access. They have early access to invest in these companies, and I wanted to be able to provide that opportunity for the user. And so, what happens is that we don't get these large, massive amounts of income because remember, like, there's companies that have come and gone that have raised 35 million, 20 million, like 17. All these companies that have raised way more capital than Fanbase, but for whatever reason are no longer here. One of the two things that I think that are really important in that is the way it's the team, right? It's people like Ramiro and Sil that make sure that we manage our capital very well. We don't spend hastily. We only, we do the best decisions that we can make by what the data tells us and why what revenue tells us and why user growth tells us. And so we listen to the data. I think that's extremely important. That's one of those things that I don't think people really understand, like how important it is as great as the app side is, there's a business involved in this. And I'm so happy to be working with people that understand. I've learned a lot. I can't say that I was super impatient, but I understand that, certain things that people may say, well, how come you don't get a creator to come and pay them a bunch of money to do this on the platform? And what we kind of notice is that creator effect of just paying creators to come on platforms doesn't necessarily create what we call stickiness. It doesn't create the person comes on there to see celebrity A, and then once celebrity A stops posting or stops coming on the platform, we see a lot of churn. And so the focus on what we're doing is community building. And I think that that's extremely important. Community building is actually more important. I say celebrities don't make apps, communities do. And that's what I mean by with that. That's what I mean by building community. So we want to be a platform that's building community with a great amount of users and all that kind of stuff. And so the difference in what we're doing is that collectively we have to ride together. So each one of you as investors, if you are an investor, or even users who want to see Fanbase succeed, should always let other people know about the app. Send it to your friends, send it to your family members, tell them like, hey man, this is an app that I think, you need to check out and be a part of. As you can see, we're not going anywhere. We are very scrappy and disruptive. I had a great conversation with a really good, a manager of a really successful media personality and podcaster. And they were just giving Fanbase the flowers of actually consistently being in the conversation of Instagram and TikTok. As little and small as we are, being in the conversation with these titans of social media is an honor. And it kind of lets us know that we've done a lot. We've accomplished a lot. The functionality of the app is great. I know that, what's so funny? I hear less and less people complaining about bugs, except for that one user that just said something about blocking not too long ago, that the block functionality, we need to get the block functionality fixed. But absolutely, because this is hard. And I'll say this before, as a founder of social media, a social media tech startup, I know that there are people that have way more money than I do, that are way smarter than I am, but the success in building a social media platform has eluded a lot of people. And I think one of those things, because it's very, very hard, but also I want people to understand my dedication and my care and my love for social media, because I understand the effect that youth culture and Black culture have on social media. I think it's extremely important. That moves the needle. We have really, really interesting conversations on here and content on here about, what really makes social media move. And I always say that, why Fanbase? Like, what's going to separate Fanbase from the rest of these social media platforms that exist? And I'll say this. What's going to separate Fanbase is that we are the first of a hopefully a continuing line of apps that focus more on user engagement and revenue for users as opposed to ad revenue for the platform. And the reason why I say that is when ads became part of social media, they had to start shadow banning and suppressing content from the users, because at that point, the app is in competition with you, because they want brands to pay them to run ads and not companies come to you and say, post our video, wear our shirt, give us a shout out on your page. They wanted to stop that from happening. So they have to suppress your content. So what it's created is a real kind of like community of frustrated users that feel like they deserve to have more visibility, more engagement, and revenue opportunity. And that's what Fanbase does. And so that's what separates us from these current platforms. A platform like Facebook or Meta, which has Facebook and Instagram, 97.5% of their revenue comes from advertising. And I didn't want to be an ad-based platform. It doesn't mean that we're not open to the idea of advertising in ways that don't affect a user's reach or their visibility, because I know that's extremely important. People love their content to be seen. You make this great piece of content and nobody sees it. It can be a tad bit frustrating. So I want to make sure that those are really, really good, good things that we continue to do. So I think that in itself is extremely important, a process that's going on. Now, something else that I want to talk about is, like, what do you see? What is the future of Fanbase? What do you see for the future of Fanbase? Like, I've invested my money in Fanbase, Isaac. Cool, you got my money. All right, what happens with my money? Because that's an important thing. Now, first I want to explain the reality. First thing I want to do is explain the reality of investing. I wish I had like a sound effect that said the reality of investing. So, shout out to my guys at Earn Your Leisure, anybody that's in the financial field and talk about investing, will tell you this, that 12 to 14% return on your investment is a win. So that means if you put invest $1 into a company and you get $1.14 back, you won. That's a win. Now, so that's not even that's a little over 10% return, right, on what you've invested. What we want to do and what we've seen already with Fanbase as the valuation of the company has grown is we've seen Fanbase go from a $20 million company. Sorry, I had a phone call come in. Sorry. We've seen Fanbase go from a $20 million company to a $50 million company to an $85 million company, and now a $160 million company. So Fanbase is 8x what it was from 2020 to 2024, 8 times more valuable. That's huge. I think that's really, really important. 8x is a lot. That's not 14%. That's 8 times. So for every dollar that you invested in Fanbase, you got $8 of equity now, more equity in the platform. So again, where's my money? So you invest in the platform, you have that. So we've already, multiplied users' money, and we continue to do that. The next thing is, okay, well, there's an eventuality for Fanbase, right? And it's one of 4 things that's going to happen. The first one we don't talk about because it's just, we always never think of the worst case scenario, but the worst case scenario is Fanbase is not successful. And we don't even think about not being successful. We know we're going to be successful. That's the mindset, that's the energy, that's the attitude that we have. The next are a combination of 3 things which are called liquidity events all in one, which is a merger, right? Which results in us merging with another company, and all the users that are all the investors that are involved get bought out as this merger takes place, right? The second is an acquisition. A larger company comes and says, hey, we love what you're doing with Fanbase. We want to purchase this company at this price, which is larger or elevated from the price that we initially started to raise. So if I want to be hypothetical and say, Fanbase started as a $20 million company and somebody wants to buy Fanbase for $5 billion, right? Cool. That's a huge growth, right? Goes from that to that. And I think that Fanbase has the ability to be an app that's worth, tens of billions, if not $100 billion. And that's how I have to kind of think about it. So at that point, everybody will be bought out and ceremoniously, ride into the sunset, being bought out as shareholders of this phenomenal company. And I know sometimes people get a little upset about that, like, well, as a Black founded company, why would you sell? And I say this, all like companies, businesses are built to be sold, especially tech startups. They're built to be sold or acquired, right? In some way, shape, or form. And the third way that companies are actually sold is going public on the stock market, where a portion of the company is put up for sale to the general public as retail investors after the fact. And then you guys are able to sell your shares before that happens. So before that process starts, you're able to exit the company and cash out your shares, some of your shares, all of your shares, however you decide, and then, ride out that way. And so when you hear these companies that go public, and then you say, oh, well, Ring got acquired by Amazon, then all the investors in Ring get bought out. So they might have invested in Ring at $20 million. They get bought out at $1 billion. Boom, platform moves on. So that's exactly what will happen with Fanbase, which is a IPO, a merger and acquisition. So those are the three ways that Fanbase will you'll get your money back. And I wanted to make sure I express that, because a lot of people are always doing that. And so, and investing is a risk, and I want to explain that, because I think some people have unrealistic expectations about investing. They think, okay, I put my money in, I'm going to get my money back in a year, I'm going to get my money back in 2 years, 3 years. Typically, a return on an investment when you're investing in an early stage company like this is an 8 to 10 year process from the time that either company is set to be acquired or the company goes public on the stock market, right? So when you think about Uber raised money like this in 2010. In 2019, they went public. At the time, the company went from people investing $5,000 and then cashing out at $24 million. And that's the big win about investing in startups early. You're taking a bigger risk, but you get a bigger reward, right? When you're retail investing, it's kind of like the hard part has already been done. The real risk takers have already come in here and really put in the bread to do that, right? And so all you investors are the real mavericks, the real early adapters, the real people that have stepped in and said, yo, I believe in Fanbase before even the world knows about it. Before it's a household name, you'll be able to tell these stories hopefully one day where it's like, yeah, I was investing in Fanbase in 2020 before it got started. And I want to express to people that is the rule. The exception, which often we get compared to in a growth cycle, are companies like Clubhouse or companies like Instagram or companies that just grow massively fast, really, really, really quickly. Facebook. Those are what you call the exception and not the rules. There are still plenty of other successful social media platforms that have taken 10 years to scale to become the household names that they are. One of them being ByteDance, which is TikTok's parent company. And they started in 2012, and they're 11 years old now. And they didn't really get to TikTok until like 2016, 2017 when they acquired Musical.ly. So it took a lot of fundraising, a lot of growth, a lot of trial and error to get to the point that they were even able to buy Musical.ly and turn it into TikTok. Another one of those platforms is Patreon, which is a paywall site that started in 2013. And they are 10 years old now, almost going to 11 years old. And I think they're valued at, right about $4 billion now. And that's incredible for those guys. But look, it took them 10 years to get to a $4 billion valuation. Now, we've seen an app like Clubhouse go from, a $100 million valuation to a $3 billion valuation in 18 months. That is the exception. That is not the rule. That is not what normally happens. These things take time. It takes a long time to scale and build a company. So I know, and the way that we're actually doing it, expect it to take longer because we're not getting large sums of capital from VCs. We're not getting large, injections and infusions of capital from VCs in the form of 40 million, 50 million, 100 million. So understand that. But that's a good a good thing. What does diluted mean? So dilution means that every time you take on new investors, a portion of the previous investors, their equity gets diluted slightly. It's not massive, but it happens slightly. Now, one of the things that happens is that since the people that hold the larger amounts of equity in the company face more dilution, so I would get diluted more than anybody. I would lose value in my equity more than any other person. And again, the goal has always been to scale Fanbase to a revenue generating platform that doesn't require lots of investment. Unless someone wants to come and give us just a ridiculous amount of money that they feel that we can take our revenue model and 8x it, 10x it. But the goal is just, raise capital so that the revenue generated by subscriptions and love revenue and partnerships, all are things that we don't ever have to raise another dime. And that's still part of the 3-year process that we're doing with this capital. And that we don't really, we've talked about, but that's really the goal. So we don't have to raise any more capital. And that Fanbase continues to scale and scale and scale. Ty Carter said, I see some of these questions. Ty said, I just mentioned this a while ago, Ty Carter, 8,000 investors. And it's more like, I think it's more like 16 or 17,000 investors, Ty. We count them all around. When are you going to recoup? We're going to recoup, Ty, when we have a